Hi everyone, welcome to the Deli Yellow sewing course. I'm Holly and I'm a fashion designer and I'm going to be teaching you how to do the basics of sewing. So this is the first video out of 5 where I'm going to take you through each step in learning how to do the basics of a sewing machine. So this is video 1, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to thread up a sewing machine and the basics. So the first topic we're going to cover is choosing your thread. Now, the most common thread to be used is polyester, and polyester is very durable and it will last a long time. However, it's actually quite unsustainable and it doesn't biodegrade, but it is a very good one to get started with, and typically if you buy a sewing machine it will come with some polyester threads anyway, which you can practice with. The best one in my opinion is the Gutermann 100% polyester thread. You'll find that this one doesn't actually break when you're pulling at it, so it's a very, very sturdy one. Whereas the ones that come in your machine, they may be a little bit fuzzy and snap, but that's okay. It's really good for practice and it's not an issue when you're sewing. But if you want something to last a bit longer, then I would recommend to go for something a bit more strong. The second option you can use is cotton, and cotton is biodegradable, so it is much more sustainable thread to be using. However, there is still a lot of unsustainable elements associated with cotton, such as the water usage and things. And also cotton is slightly more likely to break, it's a bit more unsturdy. Also, if you want to be even more sustainable, then I would go for an organic cotton, as this means that there was no pesticides used on it and also the water usage is less. So yeah, if you're going to go for cotton, go for an organic cotton, and it's also obviously biodegradable still. So another option you can use is tencel thread. Now at Deli Yellow we're obviously very passionate about sustainability, and this is our preferred thread to use. Tencel is biodegradable and compostable, so it's a very, very sustainable thread to be using compared to the others, and it's also durable. So it works very well. The only disadvantage is that it's a slightly higher price point. So you may not want to invest in this as a beginner, but if you're keen on making sure you're doing everything sustainably, then it's a good option. So in terms of the needle that you're going to want to be using, when you buy a sewing machine, often they come with some needles which you can use straight away, and those will work perfectly fine. But if you've picked up a second-hand machine or you've borrowed one off a friend or family, you don't actually know what needles it's coming with. But if you were to buy some new needles, the ones I'd recommend are the Hemline ones, and the standard size to use is 80-12, and this is basically a medium-sized needle that will work across most fabrics. If you want to use a more heavy-duty needle, you can use the 90-14, and this will work better on denim or just slightly thicker fabrics that you might be using. If you're interested in taking up materials such as lace or chiffon or really lightweight fabrics, then you can use a 70-10, and this is for super lightweight fabrics and very fine needles, so it won't create big holes or anything, so it's perfect for those kind of projects. So this is the sewing machine that we're working with. It is the Singer Heavy Duty and the model is 4432. It's a really good one, this one. It has a lot of functions and works really well on a variety of fabrics. So the first thing that we're going to do is we have our foot, which usually comes with the sewing machine that you get, and just make sure that's plugged in and switched on, and then you put the foot on the floor and that's what you're going to press down with, and then the plug goes into the side. Make sure it's nice and in properly. And then this is your on and off button. So as you can see, on, off. So that's the button just there. And then if we come to the front of the machine, we can see this is where the needle is. This is a twisting manual rotator. And what this does, it basically controls the needle. So if you're not pressing the foot, this is what you can control the needle with to lift it up. So that's using this, you can just turn it. So that's that one. This is where the bobbin is wound, so we'll go through that in a minute. This is where the normal thread is placed, so the thread you want to choose to sew with. Then we have the tension here at the front. So this is controlling how tight you want the thread to be on the fabric. This is controlling the needle position, so this is central at the moment, but you can change it so that it's either left or central or right. So you can do any of these. And I'm just controlling that by doing this. But we'll leave it central for now. And then we have the width and the length of your stitches. So the width of your stitches is to do with how wide the stitch is going to be on the fabric, and obviously the length is how long. So you can adjust this to whatever you prefer, but I usually leave this on 3/3, and it's more of a, you're more likely to change it when you're doing a zigzag stitch or on something specific. Most of the time, if you're just doing normal sewing, you can leave it on a running stitch at 3/3. And in the next video, we'll go over the stitches. And then this is the variety of stitches you can do. Now, depending on which machine you have, you will have different stitches available, but this one there is quite a few, including a buttonhole, which is really good. I've left it on straight stitch for now, which is what we're going to be going through in a minute. And this is your reverse button, so this is how we secure the stitch in place. You just press it down at the beginning and the end of your stitch line. And then this is the needle. This is where we're going to be sewing through. And then this is called your foot, and you can get a variety of foots for different purposes, but we've just left on the basic one for now. And then in there is where the bobbin goes. So we'll be threading our bobbin in a second, and then I will show you how to put it in. Okay, so now we're going to thread up the machine. So what we're going to need is the thread that we chose to use and also a bobbin. So this is a bobbin, and this is where the bobbin goes. So it goes on here to be thread up. Before we can start sewing, we need to thread the bobbin. So bobbin goes on there, and then we're going to push this to the right hand side. Basically, if you keep it on the left, the needle is working, so what we need to do is we need to push it to the right so that it threads the bobbin instead of making the needle go up and down. So if it's left, needle goes up and down. If it's right, thread the bobbin. So we push that right. The next thing that we're going to do is add the thread. So we're going to remove this part as it just secures the thread into place. And then we're going to put our thread on here. And then we're going to re-put this on, as this just holds the thread in place as we're sewing. And here's your thread. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put it just into here. There is instructions on the actual machine. Some machines won't have this, but this one does. There we go, now that's locked in. And then, as you can see here on the diagram, the thread needs to come around this side, round, and all the way over to the bobbin. So it's going to go around, over, and then come all the way over here. And then we're just going to wrap it around the bobbin a couple of times. And basically I just wrap it around until you have lost all of that excess thread. And now we're ready to wind the bobbin. So you just put your foot on the pedal. Okay, so the bobbin is now wound enough. This is enough for now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut it. Just like that. And then we can move this back to the left. So we're back on the needle now.
and remove it. In terms of the thread, if you just pull it all out, we can start from scratch when we thread up the machine now. So now we're going to thread up the machine. We're going to take our thread and we're going to follow the instructions all the way along. So this is step number 1, is to again click it under this bit here. So we're going to push this under here and that's clicked into place. And then step number 2 is to put it around this bit. So did you see that? I'm just looping it over and around. So that's now in there. Step number 3 is to pull the thread down and back up again the other side. Now there's a little hook in here that we have to hook it over. So we just need to make sure it's hooked. Now, if you're struggling to hook it into place like me, you might need to wiggle this around a bit, as this controls the needle, so you can pull it up to the top here, so it might make it a bit easier. So we're going to pull our thread up and then hook it over like that. And then we're going to put it down. So there is a little hook here that we're going to try and hook it around. So we're going to put it down and then we're going to hook over, and now it's behind this little bar thing, and then we're just going to snip the end so we get a really nice clean edge, and we're going to thread this through. There we go. So now we want to place this thread underneath the foot, which we can do if we really push it, but what's even better is if we can lift this foot up. So at the back of the machine there's a foot which you can lift up and down, and as you can see that lifts the foot up, so it will make it easier for you. You can see that if I lift the foot up, we're much more easily able to push this under. And there we go. The machine is now threaded up there, and now we need to insert the bobbin. So this part here is where the bobbin gets placed into. If you push this little thing, it pops up, we remove that, and now we're going to place our bobbin that's been wound into this gap. Now the key thing here is to make sure that the thread is facing this direction. So you want to place it exactly the way mine is, with the thread facing this way, and then place it into the hole. Then, as you can see, there is some little bars here which we want to place this thread over. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the thread and then we're going to catch it over this end here. There we go. Now you want to hear it catch into place, and now it is caught there, so and whenever I pull it, it's not coming back out again. So just make sure that you've hooked it right over that metal part there, caught it about here, and then it shouldn't come out then. And then when you pull it, it will just nicely unwind. So once you've done that, I'm going to put the shield back over again. Push it down into place. So now what we want to do is we want to bring this thread over to where the foot is. So you're going to take the thread that's been threaded through the needle, pull it and rotate the wheel at the same time. What this is going to do is it's going to catch the other thread, so then when you pull it, it will come out with both threads. The bobbin thread and also the top thread. You might need to move the wheel a few times to do this before it will come out. You can also use a pair of scissors to help catch it. And what we're going to get is this little loop here, you can see. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull this loop and it's going to pull that thread through. So now we have both of our threads coming out at the same point. We're going to snip the ends, and this is now ready. As you can see, the bobbin is coming from the bottom and the thread that's been through the needle is coming from the top, so they're matching up perfectly now. So now the machine is ready to start sewing and everything is in place. So to change the needle on a sewing machine, what you're going to need to do is get your little screwdriver that typically comes with a sewing machine. If you bought one, it will be in the pack, and if not, you can buy these online. It just comes as part of a sewing machine repair kit. So what you're going to need to do is unscrew this bit here. It's usually around this area on all machines, and you're just going to insert the screwdriver and turn it to make the needle looser. So as soon as you turn it, the needle is going to become quite loose, and then what you should be able to do is just pull it out. Okay, still a little bit too tight, so I'm going to turn it a bit more. There we go. So that came out nice and easily there. So now I've removed the needle, what we can do is we can get a new needle, because that one was a bit old. And then we want to place, so on needles, the back is always flat and the front of the needle is always curved. So what you want to do is take the flat back and point that towards the back. And then what you want to do is insert that into the little hole with the flat back. So you want to make sure that the flat bit is facing the back, which is there. We're turning it to the back. And then at the front it is the round part, and you're just going to insert it into the hole, making sure the back is at the back. And what you're going to do is push it up, and then you're going to secure it in place by turning with your screwdriver. There we go, it won't turn anymore. Now the needle is securely placed. And if you just do a little test to try and pull it out, just to see if it's in properly. And there we go, that's how you change a needle.
Thank you so much for watching the first video within the mini sewing course, and I look forward to showing you some basic stitches in the next video. Bye!